Now we can substitute our site topography with grass, as you can see in this illustration here. We're going to put in a building pad, which is where we're going to site our building. And before we even do both of those, we're going to extract some information about where the road is by using the satellite image and creating what's called a subregion. A subregion is something that can have a different materiality to it, but still mate with the existing topographies or that curved surface that we have, unlike a building pad that's just a flat surface. So I'm going to close out of our browser here, and I'm back into Revit. And I'm going to go to the site view of this, and I'll go ahead and render this realistically. And I will save the project here for the first time. CV, which is a good reminder for you to save yours. And I will start now doing that subregion creation. So I'm going to go up to the subregion tab, and I want to make sure this is on chain, so that when I start drawing lines, they will be continuous with each other. And I'm going to zoom in here and start right up at the top and kind of outline the road. So I'm going to grab my straight line tool to start with, and I'm just going to draw a line at this edge here. And actually, I want to just go to click out of that for a second. I want to just hold inside of the outside of the topography a little bit. Sometimes I find that if you get too close to the edge, it can cause some problems. So I'm going to select that, and now I'm just going to change my tool to a spline tool, and that'll allow me to make these kind of curved surfaces as we move along and follow the contour of the road. So I'm just kind of touching the edge of the grass here, and where curves change sharply, you want your points to be really close together, and where they just change gently, you can spread them out further apart. And at some point, it's so tree covered here, you'd really just have to kind of make some bit of an approximation. And we'll just come down to the bottom, and once again, like I said, slip back to a straight line tool, and then I'm going to click back to the spline again. And now I'm really kind of paying attention to that other line, because we know a road will just have a constant width to it. So I just kind of want to mate it so that it has a uniformity to it, especially since we can't actually see the road in all of these locations. And we have that curve in the road. And once again, a lot of curving, so we might want to put these points a little bit closer together. Further apart when we have little bits of curvature. And you can see how relatively quickly this can go. Going back to the straight tool here, and I'm going to kind of have to guess a little bit at where that edge of the road might be. And once again, I'm kind of looking at the other road that I've drawn, or the other side of the road there once again. So we want it to look, as accurate to what a road would look like, I guess. And when we get down here, once again, a couple of close points, and then we have that idea that it switches back. So we might actually go to a straight line here just to get us switched back, and then click back to the spline tool, and a couple more points. And once I can get to that other one, I can touch it, and we're completed now. And if we look at it in 3D, now we have that road contoured to that surface. So we have one other area over here, and we'll come back to that, because what I'll do is, just to break things up a little bit, let's put a building pad in. So I'm going to zoom out here a little bit, and I'm going to grab the building pad tool just to show you how this works. I'm going to use the rectangle mode, and I'm going to put the building pad kind of up on the hill in a clearing here out of this treed area, but you'll notice the contour lines are very close together, so that indicates that it's really heavily sloped. So we may want to just not be in the thick of all the slope. Maybe I'll come down here a little bit, and I'm going to make this about 120 by 120 feet. Not critical, we're going to make a lot of adjustments to that. I'll just complete that off, and now you can get a good feeling for this idea of what a building pad is. So we have done kind of like a cut and fill here. It's at level 1, the elevation. which is how we're going to import our building. And we've had to take a little bit of terrain out or soil out in order to make that, and we've had to add it in on this side. So that's a building pad for us. Now let's go back to the site and grab one more characteristic that's useful, and that's kind of the outline of this court. So once again, I'm going to go to Site, Massing and Site, Subregion, and grab my line tool, and I'll do the same thing I did before here. I'm going to hold in just a little bit from the edge here and grab our shape. Now we need a curve, I think a curve by 3 points. Let's see how that works. There we go. And then I'll go to a straight line to finally connect back to this one. And I'm going to zoom in here so I can make sure I touch this point. And it's completed. And if it's completed right, we get the shape generated. So now we have a 3D of that subregion also. So the last thing I want to do now is actually convert this image to grass. So we could say you still may want to extract information like location of trees or other features, but let's say we're completed on that. So I'm going to select that. I'm going to go to our site image material, and I'm going to click on it so it opens up our material browser. And I'm going to make a new material, create a new material, and right click on that and rename it grass. And then I'm going to open up our resource browser here, or asset browser. I'm going to go to Appearance and Site Work. And I'm going to go down until I can find some grass. And I like this raw field grass. So I'm going to import that. And we'll click Apply and OK. And there we have now our site and grass applied instead of that aerial image. So next we'll look at bringing a building onto this site.